Saskatoon has embarked on some major roadwork and infrastructure projects lately, and as a result of that, there's a lot of delays and detours that have showed up on our streets and roadways. Along with that comes some challenges, and I've asked Angela Gardiner, the Director of Transportation, to come and give us some insight into what the City of Saskatoon is doing and some of the challenges that the workers are experiencing firsthand. So, Angela, thanks for making time.
Thanks for having me, Randy.
Let's talk a bit about the bigger picture and the infrastructure and the work that is going on both daytime and nighttime.
Well, the city's embarked on a big initiative to improve the condition of the city's roads. We're investing over $59 million this year to improve the condition of the roads for all motorists around the city. With that, obviously, there's going to be more construction happening, and we have a very short construction season, so we're trying to plan how we can get all of this work done. As well, giving consideration to minimizing the impacts that we would impose on motorists as well. So all of the work is coordinated to minimize the impacts, and we're also doing as much work as we can at night as well. There's a lot of projects that we did and that we are doing at night this year. All of the work on College Drive, where we did paving near Preston Avenue, that was all done at night. So while everybody's at home sleeping, we've got crews out there getting the work done so that we can minimize the impact for vehicles.
I think that came through with some of the council meetings, and councillors have expressed a desire to do this on off-peak hours. So that has to be resonating well throughout the community from what you're hearing.
Absolutely. Being able to do it with minimal impact to the residents and to motorists is very beneficial. So there's a number of projects where we can do it on the major roadways. Obviously, we don't want to be in residential areas working in front of someone's house. So it is a bit of a balance. We've got about 45 kilometers of the over 200 kilometers of road work was done at night this year. And in addition to that, there's a number of other different kinds of operations that the city does at night, just on a regular basis. We've got some of the line marking on our major roadways we do at night, bridge washing, things like that where we're going to have a major impact. That type of work is done at night.
I maybe would speak for the majority of the people who appreciate that, so thank you. If we talked about the work zones themselves, can we talk a bit about the need to abide by the rules? I know there's a number of people that might say, well, I don't see anybody, so I don't have to drive 60, or I'm doing 60, that's slow enough. What's your message on behalf of the transportation department, and obviously people, mums and dads and sons and daughters that are working? What are they experiencing in these work zones?
Well, probably the biggest thing we're seeing is that people are actually entering the work zone. So we'll have a road closed for the work, and people will move barricades, they will drive up onto the sidewalks. We've had reports of that, and there's actually been some verbal confrontations with some of our crews where people are just disappointed and frustrated that our crews are getting in their way of where they need to go. So, there's, in addition to the risks of them actually doing the job, we're having to face some of these additional confrontations in the work zones.
Just personally speaking, I find that a little surprising to hear that, on one hand, the general public is saying fix our roads, but there doesn't seem to be any tolerance for getting the roads fixed. So if we do happen upon a work zone, daytime or nighttime, and it is the orange zone, posted speed of 60. So if it's daytime or nighttime and there's no workers present, do you still need to abide by that speed?
Absolutely. If there is a speed reduction or whatever the signage happens to be, you still need to abide by it. There may be hazards in place. There might be some concrete curing or some asphalt cooling or different things like that, or there might be some kind of a physical hazard if there's a big drop-off on that you may not see as a motorist. There might be something that is there, equipment or live wires. There could be many things that are in the work zone that the motorist might not see. So the message is, regardless of what you may or may not see as a potential hazard, abide by all the signs, slow down, even if it doesn't necessarily say 60, because if it's a roadway that isn't typically 60 kilometers an hour, if it's a residential road or something like that, and still abide by the signs and stay out of the work zones.
How do we, do you think there's more of an educational component that we're starting to see with not only the younger generation, but maybe for some of the mature drivers that say, well, it's okay, I've been here before, I lived here all my life, and no one's going to do anything about that. Can someone actually be charged?
Absolutely. One of the things, we launched our awareness campaign in 2014 called Respect Work Zones, and the key messages there is, respect the people that are working in the work zones. They're there for a reason. They're there to improve the infrastructure. And as a result of that, we are seeing some better compliance. But as I mentioned, there's some situations where people are just, going up around barricades, going through. And we're actually telling our workers, and we're working closely with police to take note of these and report them. We were just notified earlier this week that there was an incident that happened back in May, and a motorist was actually charged. And that was based on the report from our employee. They gave as much information as they could have, passed along to police, and they were able to lay charges. So from our perspective, and from the perspective of our employees, it's really encouraging to see that police are willing to work with us to enforce and help keep everybody safe.
I would appreciate that on behalf of not only the driving public, but on behalf of the workers that are just doing their job and going to work every day. I think important to come home safe is a good mantra. What is the city going to do, I guess, throughout this fall? And do you expect the construction season to end upon freeze-up, or will there still be some things happening to lead us into next year?
Well, there's always, the fall. The temperature is basically what drives our construction season, and we're doing our best and working with our contractors to get all the work done as quickly as possible this fall. There is a potential that if some projects aren't completed, they might continue into the winter, or we might have to shut stuff down until the spring. So it all depends. We don't anticipate significant work going throughout the winter, but if it's a case where there is a situation where the project is not done and we have to maintain some type of a closure or a reduced speed or something like that, then there is potential that might be maintained throughout the winter if necessary.
If there are pieces of infrastructure that are damaged and cause detours, are there things that the city is doing to make drivers aware, or can they be made aware on their phones? Public service announcement, can they get those directly so that if I have to take Johnny to hockey tonight, mm-hmm. and I know that there's a road closure because of a sewer repair, is there something that the public can sign up for?
Yeah, we do have our, before any major construction or a detour, we release the PSAs. We also have service alerts that you can sign up for to get notification of road closures. A couple of years ago, we launched a new app on our website that actually shows all of the construction throughout the city. So you can see what's currently active. So before you leave your house when you're going to work or on any kind of other trip, you can identify what some of the restrictions might be that day, or else if you're planning into the future, we also show what's coming in the next couple of weeks down the pipe. And if you want more information about the types of work that's going on, there's also contact information for each of the projects as well, if you want to know more details.
I can't imagine trying to keep track of 45 kilometers worth of work at night. Are there safety issues around that for the workers? They'd have to have enough lighting and so on to make sure you can see what they're doing on the roadways, I would imagine.
Exactly. I mean, as much as we try to minimize the impact on motorists, it does create additional risks for our employees and our contractors that are out there working. We have all of our reflective signage and the high visibility clothing that our employees are wearing, but there's always factors out there and risks that we can't control. A couple weeks ago, as you may have heard, there was an incident with an impaired driver that hit one of our crews. So fortunately, there was not more significant injuries, but a second earlier, there could have been some serious results.
Understood. I guess that was one of the things that prompted me to invite you to speak to the general public at large, was in terms of educating a lot of us that are driving daily. Is there anything that you can give us that we can take with us on our daily commutes? Is it leaving early? I guess information is out there. It's up to you to be informed as a public member. Can you say to us, just take your time and think of those people that are working on the side of the road?
Well, exactly. I mean, the message to motorists is really plan in advance. We've provided the information is out there, as you mentioned, and really, when you are driving down the road, obey all the signage, whether it is the regular signage that's out there, or if there's additional construction signage. Obey the signage. Slow down if you see employees or people working in the work zones, or not. Slow down to make sure everyone can get home safe. It really is. The average detour is about an extra 10 seconds in your commute. So, I mean, in some cases, that extra 10 seconds could be the difference between someone getting home safe or not.
I think that's important to take away from this. And if we're looking at 2017, are there any other initiatives or any other special projects that you see on the horizon? We have, 2 new bridges coming on and so on. People are adapting to those traffic patterns. Is there anything we can watch for in the next year or so?
We've got a lot of bigger projects coming in the next couple of years. Obviously, the continuation of the North Commuter Parkway is a big one. There's 2 new interchanges that'll be starting up in the spring. And then continuing on our Building Better Roads program. That's going to be another big initiative next year. We're definitely not slowing down to improve our road network. So there's going to be more. We're just finalizing the details of exactly which roadways and whatnot. And we'll be figuring that out as budget is approved for next year. We'll be finalizing all those details and communicating to the public as much as we can in advance.
So we're not taking our foot off the gas on construction, but we want you to take your foot off the gas when you're passing the construction.
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect. Angela, I want to thank you for making time for us today, and we'll certainly take your words to heart.
Great. And if I can just, add that, if anyone's looking for more information about the road construction, they can visit our Building Better Roads website and get the information they need there.
Perfect. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.